Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Lover Drive here, and today we're going to be talking about the Console Edition Rust and what is coming to the Console Edition of Rust in 2024. Will it shut down? Will it keep going? Will we get Minicopters? And will we see some new monuments? That's all going to be answered in this video because we have some definite answers on most of those questions, and we've got a lot of other cool stuff to talk about. So let's get into it, but before we get into it, let's just crack one open right here. I don't know if you heard that. This is going to be my first time trying a hard Mountain Dew. I figured it was fitting because it's hard, just like me as I'm recording this. Now let's take a sip and get going. It tastes horrible. It tastes horrible. Anyways, let's keep going. So, Rust Console Edition. I don't know how I'm going to finish this thing. Rust Console Edition 2024, what's coming? So we know a few things about monuments, okay? There's two monuments that we definitely know are coming, and there's a few monuments that we definitely know are not coming. So first off, it has pretty much been confirmed at this point, leaked by a million people, and then hinted at, and there's an OnlyFans for it and everything. Junkyard's coming. It's coming. It's with this next wipe. It's probably going to be dropping in January, the February wipe. You know what I'm talking about. If it doesn't drop then, we're going to be seeing it in March. But yeah, Junkyard's coming. After that, you're probably going to have military tunnels. It's likely going to drop before middle of July. So like before July, the middle of 2024 is what I'm looking to say. But yeah, it's probably going to drop before July. So we're going to see military tunnels and Junkyard. At least that's what the statistics are. If you want to talk betting odds, this is like 99 out of 100. Well, maybe not that sure, but 75 out of 100, I'd say. It's higher than 50-50. Anyways, military tunnels and Junkyard. Now, there are some actual additional monuments. They're sort of going to be coming via the community edition of Rust, or community servers for the console edition of Rust. Wow, I'm messing all my words up. I swear to God, I've had one drink. I am pretty much completely sober right now. Man. 2 drinks. So anyways, no. Yeah, so what's going on is you do have Rable Bases that are going to be coming via community servers. So Rable Bases, there's not much that's been talked about on this, but it's sort of been leaked, and like you saw it on the community edition Rust. If you go to G Portal, you saw it. It disappeared, but Rable Bases are basically bases that spawn. There's supposed to be a loot and a whole thing around it. I'm not sure if there's going to be scientists or anything like that, but basically, if you get a server that's not that populated or you want to have like server events, Rable Bases would be the way to do it. And it seems like that's something that's going to be coming to the console edition Rust, and it seems like that's probably going to be coming out maybe like, I don't know, like in the first 2-3 quarters of this year. And there's only 4 quarters, so I'm basically saying like up until sort of like October we've got until that drops. But yeah, that should be coming for community servers, which is cool because it shows that there is some development that's going to be continuing with community servers. So now, I said we were going to talk about monuments that are coming and monuments that aren't coming. I'm going to take another drink of this horrible thing here. Oh, who knew this video was going to be a tortured video? Anyways, we're going to be posting this on Live Leaks. So then, yeah, so let's go into monuments that aren't going to be included. Just like you when someone's picking people for the dodgeball team. Because yeah, there's a few monuments that they've confirmed definitely won't be included. So we're not going to be getting any subways. We are not going to be getting any trains. It looks like based on some of the rules that I can see on Xbox and PlayStation, we won't be getting blackjack. We're not going to be getting hookers. And we are definitely not going to be getting any blow. Because this is Rust, like hookers and blow. That's not something that you really, well, I could see some real degenerates doing blow to stay up and play Rust, but you shouldn't be doing it. Rust is a game that's going to keep your virginity and keep you off drugs. It's not a game that's going to get you into either of those, and let's keep it that way, boys. There's enough racism. That's how we add our bad into the world. Anyways, though, now that I've passed a judgment on hookers and blow, let's keep going. No, so like, yeah, we know subways aren't coming. We know trains aren't coming. We know, like, anything that's moving, it seems like really isn't going to be coming. Underwater labs could be coming. It hasn't really been hinted at, but that's something that they definitely have the capabilities to do. I do not think we're going to see rocket launchers or anything like that. We could see something like the Arctic base. We could see something like, there's a few like that, but military tunnels that is probably the easiest one for them to add, the one that people are really sort of looking forward to. Outside of that, there's a lot of like just junk that comes with Rust, right? There's a lot of junk monuments that they could be adding, but I don't think they're going to be doing it. One thing you've got to remember is we only have 3 kilometers. So if they start adding too much stuff, they're going to have to increase the map size because it just does, like a 3-kilometer map doesn't quite work. If you've got cars, if you've got minicopters, if you got helicopters, if you got all sorts of junk in there, right? Like you need bigger and bigger maps to account for the fact that players can travel bigger and bigger distances. It looks like we are not going to be getting that for the console edition Rust. Blame it on last gen, blame it on your mom, blame it on D11. It's just not going to happen. That's pretty much like what's been confirmed, at least for 2024. So yeah, they also said Minicopters aren't coming. There was a question about that, and they said it's not planned anytime in the near future. They looked into it. There's some performance issues. They're still sort of looking into it. Like, one of the things that was said is there are performance issues with Minicopters. I assume this applies to helicopters. You can almost assume this applies to cars and a lot of the other sort of movable things that you see in Rust. So this would be RVs, everything like that. But they did say that a lot of these performance issues they overcame. There were a lot of things that they've added in that they didn't think they could previously add in. So there's always a chance that it could make it in. And let's be honest, like, car games do exist on the Xbox. They've existed for a long time. Same with the PlayStation. It's not like some crazy thing to be able to add drivable, like, scenery in and everything like that. What I think it has to do with is draw distance. I think it has to do with just the fact that the maps are so, like, they're so changing, so evolving. You can't use a lot of the common tricks that you could have used with other games where you sort of know what to expect. You can't really do that with Rust. Another drink, another bit of torture. No, like, you just don't know what's going on with Rust, right? Like, they don't exactly know what's going to be built. There's a lot of memory optimization tricks that you could use with other games that you can't use here. My guess is probably one of the big reasons is the Unity engine and the fact that the Rust, like, code base, it's sort of notorious for not being that well optimized. And by not that well optimized, there's streamers with 4090s are getting like 70 FPS. 4090, that costs probably more than, it costs more, well, yeah, it probably costs more than my whole setup if you don't count my laptop, because the laptop I'm recording this on right now, it's a 4080, my computer's a 3080, like, when we're not including those are the big boys. But if you include just the Xbox, the little Xbox Series S, the little monitor, and the Xbox controller, definitely not 4080 territory, not even close to 4090 territory, and that's just a graphics card that's required to run the PC version Rust at optimal sort of specifications, right? You've got to remember that. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, a lot of that movable stuff just isn't going to be added. At least that's what's been hinted at. That's what's been talked about, and it completely makes sense. That's just not something they're going to be doing. Along with that, you can probably assume submarines, tugboats, all that stuff's probably not going to be coming as well. Now, we do have some other stuff that could be coming that you guys can get psyched for, so let's start talking about that. Map sizes. We already talked about that 3-kilometer map. That's sort of like the biggest map that you can access right now. If you know anything about community servers, you know recently there was a wipe of some community servers that had maps larger than 3 kilometers. These maps some of them were having issues, but overall it did sort of work, which proves that you can go to 3.5 kilometers, you can go to 4 kilometers, you could probably get these bad boys up to 6 kilometers and everything's going to run fine. So it looks like map sizes could increase, right? Along with that, though, weather, things like that, they've confirmed that's not going to be added to the console edition Rust anytime soon. So maybe the map size could be bumped up if they really wanted to. It seems like they work. It seems like they run. It seems like the only big limitation there is if you start doing a 3x server with a 6-kilometer map, you're going to have some issues. If you start doing like a 1x server with a 3.5-kilometer map, that seems reasonable. It seems like that sort of works. But yeah, you're not going to get weather. That's something they've said they're not going to be adding. Along with that, a lot of the graphics updates, a lot of the recoil updates, those things are not going to be coming to the console edition Rust, thank God. Especially when it comes to recoil updates, I'm bad enough as it is right now. The last thing I need is for them to make me worse. Now, for the community servers, we don't really know what's going to be coming there. Again, I talked about Rable Bases, but there's a lot of other things that they could do. There's a lot of other tweaks they could do. There's moderation tools they could release. I've looked at some of the logs that they've got. There's some really simple code, but there's some really simple like code tweaks they could do, just JavaScript things and stuff like that. They could make it so much easier for people to tell just who's cheating, who isn't cheating. If people are using recoil scripts and things like that, I think they could add stuff like that. For instance, just displaying bullet patterns, like shot patterns and stuff like that in the logs, or making that an option, making it available so that people could actually log like when an item's like despawned, when an item's dropped, who picks that item up, things like that. If you start logging things like that, sure, the log files are going to be a little bit big, but there's plenty of room on the servers for that. Honestly, I think that would be more than welcome by a lot of the player base. That would make things really easy. If they could start parsing those log files a little bit better, that would be great. JavaScript has some great parsing tools. Java has some great, like pretty much any language you look at has great parsing tools. So these things are actually pretty easy wins that they could be adding in. And I think they could go that route. Like, I don't think it's a huge team that's working on community servers, but adding a few little things like that in, I think they could do. I think in addition, I don't know if they're going to be giving us any more controls. Honestly, they've given us a really good amount of controls. it would be nice to see events added, like Christmas events, Easter events, everything like that, because one of the things that really sucks, one of the things that really just leaves me with the blue balls, right? It's when community servers drop and there's a Christmas event going on official servers. I really do not want to be competing with official servers. I want my server to have everything that official servers have, and a little bit better. It's got me. But no, like, it doesn't have it, because communities, like, Christmas events just didn't drop on community servers. I'd like to see Easter events drop. I'd like to see Christmas events drop. I'd like to see Halloween events drop on community servers and official servers. And I think we're going to start getting that. I think Easter we probably won't see, but I think Halloween we could. So yeah, people are probably wondering what else are we going to get. I took another drink. It's actually growing on me now. I don't think this is caffeinated, by the way. I was looking at it because I didn't want another Four Loko experience. I'm old, right? So, like, when Four Loko came out, I want a little balls to the walls with it, right, boys? Like, I was 10 beers in, having a good night. Had a few shots. We're just, we're feeling good, right? Feeling like I might have crossed the barrier, tipped over the edge, been about to not poop my pants, but piss my pants. So I figured I'd do the thing that everybody does to sober up, have a little bit of caffeine. And I thought, in my drunk mind, what better way to do it than get one of those energy drinks that is mixed with alcohol? Well, the first one didn't work, so I did the second one, did a third one, and then, your heart's going boom, boom, boom. And it's, we're listening to some happy hardcore, and I'm beating out the beat, but it was not good. So yeah, it's probably best that they didn't add caffeine to this one, but yeah, Four Loko, those were the days. Probably took a couple years off my life, and I would not say it was worth it, but it's good to look back and remember the scary times, the dark times, the release of the console edition Rust. No, but yeah, I don't know. What else are they gonna add? There's been some rumors about splitting the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 from the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. I don't think that's going to happen. That would be a huge thing for it to happen. I've seen the rumors. I've seen some people saying that Pedro and a few people hinted at it. I really don't think that's going to be a thing. I think they could have some optimizations coming. Maybe they will have some sort of exclusive 6-kilometer servers that only next gen gets. I could see something like that, but they're not going to split the code base. I can almost guarantee that. So you're not going to get an instance where the latest generation has cars and the last generation doesn't. You're not going to get an instance where they've got Minicopters and the last generation doesn't. Pretty much as long as the game's supported and updated on both, they're not going to split the code base. The only way they do that is if they said, this is the Rust that you will get on last generation now and forever. Until they can say that, they're not going to split the code base. And the reason for that is when you split a code base like that, you're just doubling the work. And essentially, not right off the bat, but it's slowly going to get worse and worse. And you're doubling the work, right? They had Minicopters, and now all of a sudden you've got to test Minicopters for every monument that's added. But then on the old gen, you don't really have that, so you got to test for other things. It can get really confusing and really expensive really quickly, so I don't think they're going to be doing that. But it does seem like, it seems like they might have some sort of interesting thing coming. I think 2024 is going to be the year that we see them split the consoles a little bit, but not too much. We're talking about when I say split, I'm talking about sort of how crossplay works, right? You can play on the PlayStation, you can play on the Xbox, or you have those cross-play servers, right? And that's where everybody can play. I think it's going to be the same thing. You can do a last-gen server. I don't know why anyone would do that. A next-gen server, which has sort of a bigger map size, maybe a few more monuments, and then you can just do that straight down the middle, general sort of cross-play, anyone with any type of system can play server. And I think that's where they're going to go with it. I think that might be a community server thing, but yeah, that's all I've got really. I could draw this on longer and longer, but I think I've droned on enough. I've told the Four Loko story about all that. I don't know. You guys want to hear about some crazy stuff that happened to me back in the day, going to war zones? And no, we're not going to talk about that. Well, if you want to talk about that, we got to get my subscriber count a lot higher, because then I'd be ID'd pretty quickly. Until next time, peace.